Rick Keller is an infectious disease pro and my guest right now on the Sergio Show. Rick, Happy New Year. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes. Now, let me get an update on what you and I talked about last time. I know you came to talk to me about coronavirus, which, by the way, if you're just joining the show, let me remind you, top story this hour. Reports out of Mexico, Tamaulipas State, just south of us, that coronavirus suspected case negative. And we were all over it and reporting it to you because the individual went to China, to the Wuhan region in China, visited family, came back, got sick, and told Mexican authorities, hey, maybe it's coronavirus. So that's why we reported to you. Well, today the report is negative. It is not coronavirus. Whew, good. We don't need that running around here. We got plenty of flu and common colds and all that already. So Rick Keller, infectious disease pro, my guest right now on the Sergio Show. Last time I spoke with you, Rick, you were working with border authorities to set up a quick scanning system to see if there's any infectious diseases coming from folks that are crossing the border illegally, being processed by Border Patrol. Give me a status report on that. Tell me about the system, the proposal that you had in status report of you working with Border Patrol. What was going on?
Pleasure to be on. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
It is in the works right now. We hope to be able to be screening people at the border timely. We do not at this moment.
How does your system? How does it work, Rick?
Well, right now, let me just take you back one step. Right now, they've sent out 30 first report and now hundreds of CDC people to start screening people coming into the country from Wuhan. As we know, they've shut down Wuhan. That's not a problem, but they'll be coming in from other cities that are so affected.
Yeah.
Wuhan is the epicenter of all this, apparently. Okay. And so what our system does is take those hundreds of people and it just automates to a kiosk. You walk up to the kiosk, and where a clinician may be looking at 1 out of 1,000 of these people that we pick up, and that'll just be a very simple job. We automate what all 20 or 30 per airport are doing, and that is taking their temperatures. You walk up to the kiosk, you're actually looking at a reflection of your face, and you are aligning your face, and there's a little expert cue in there that says, artificial intelligence that says, get closer, get further, and you're within 12 inches, 2 seconds later, and it has your body temperature, your core adjusted body temperature. And with that, we can tell help tell whether you have a fever, your elevated body temperature or not. And from there, you go to a clinician, and this is now we're into just 1 out of 2,000 people or so. And you go to a clinician and they look for other symptoms, respiratory problems, asking you questions, ticking things off, getting your name, your address, your phone number in case something comes up, and they want to contact you. It's called contact tracing.
In other words, call the population coming into an airport or in an immigration processing center. And
right.
What is the threshold then that is being looked at? 99, 100? What is
it? That's a great question. And there's been articles now, even before this Wuhan outbreak of the coronavirus, there have been articles that have been coming out in the Wall Street Journal and some and Barron's about how body temperature has been changing. It's been getting lower. Mm-hmm. And, we have some comments because we have over 1 million points of data on this. But as far as body temperatures, but the direct answer to your question is that the average body temperature is 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So what that means is that when we always thought of 98.6 and do the math, it's almost a degree Fahrenheit lower. That means your fever is going to be lower. So CDC will say 100.4. And that may be true about body temperature, internal core body temperature. But when you take the temperature at the mouth, you're going to be about 0.5 degree to 1 degree Fahrenheit lower. So if fever is really at 99.5, we see a cut at about 99.1 degree F. People shouldn't get excited. They're not going to have coronavirus necessarily. There could be, urinary tract infections, which is much more rare than currently flu. And then this very remote possibility, hopefully it'll stay that way, of coronavirus. We haven't seen it but one place in the United States, but it really wasn't in Washington. It was in China, and the person having recovered somewhat then came to Washington State.
The core temperature that is read with these monitors that you're referring to, by the way, my guest, Rick Keller, Infectious Disease Pro, we're talking about these monitors at airports, and we're hoping maybe Border Patrol also gets a chance to use these at immigration processing centers just to check these core temperatures. As an image of an individual is viewed, is scanned by one of these cameras, what is the core temperature that is suspect? Because you said when you take a temperature in mouth, that's about a half degree lower than the 100.4. 99.5 would be more representative of a potential fever that's welling up inside a person. So what is the temperature that is red and is suspect in that image?
That's a great question. They're looking at a couple of features too, by the way. Your fever is not just a high temperature. Fever is an actual syndrome. It's a condition in the body. Your skin starts to get cold, so your skin actually goes down in temperature. But things like your brain and your organs are protected. Your heart rate goes up because your body notices this internal epidemic. So all these little functions happen, and your face begins to start getting very warm around places that are exposed, like your temporal artery. That's the ones right at your temple, your jugular and some other arteries, and then right between your eyes and your forehead is called the inner canthus, right where kind of your glasses lie, and that's the warmest part of your body during a fever. And so what they're looking for is a hot spot right about there. That's where we measure expertly with the artificial intelligence kind of sighting your face within 12 inches. So we're self-service and non-contact. Otherwise, the CDC will go up to you with a handheld infrared thermometer and get about 2 inches from your face and take a temperature right at your forehead.
Yeah, I was just reminded of what my pediatrician said. The most accurate temperature reading is through the backside. Turn the baby over, take that diaper off, and bloop, hello. That's the most accurate. Now, you tell me at the airport, they're taking people, say, we suspect you have fever. You come over here. Let me take your temperature. Are they doing? They're doing that?
They're not doing that.
Okay, good.
No, it's not. And by the way, just like every study you can find on the internet, pro and con, rectal temperature is what you're talking about, and that happens to have a different characteristic when you have a fever. So it is very accurate for normal temperatures. It's fairly accurate for fever, but the most, the gold standard of temperature monitoring for fever is called esophageal. So they stick a wire pretty much down your throat.
Ouch! I'm gagging already thinking about that one. Rick, keep me posted, Rick, on your efforts on the border with Border Patrol. Tell me what's going on. If you're successful with it, please get back to me, and we'll get you back on the radio, all right?
Well, dude, can I tell you my website?
Yeah, go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
More information?
Yes, sir.
It's welloinc.com, WELLOINC.com. We have blogs and information and a free app, too, that'll tell you what your susceptibility is anywhere in the world, updated hourly.
WelloInc.com. Well as like in a deep water well. WELL, or being well. WELLO, the letter O, Inc. INC. WelloInc.com. Rick Keller, thank you for joining us on the Sergio Show. Time is 10:54. Talk line 800-58.